What's up guys, JDAVISDRIFTING here. We got these Deatschwerks fuel rails. These are for the Ls2. Just got these sent out to me. These are a prototype. I do not believe these are out yet. So today we're going to throw them on the Ls2 drift car, see how they bolt up, and we'll try to walk you guys through it and see how everything goes. So let's get to it.
Jack, do a full 180?
There's 2 bunnies. There's going to be at least 12 in a couple months.
Nice, nice, nice.
3 months? Yeah, probably. Alright guys, so this is what they look like straight out of the box. We got a Schrader valve to help bleed everything, 4 Allen head bolts, and then 2 cap plugs. But guys, look at these rails. These things look nice. Super nice. Multiple ports for different pressure gauges or bleed valves, whatever you guys would need. Ports at the bottom. These things are nice. So we're gonna pull the car in and we're gonna get started putting these things on. Alright guys, we got the car in here. First thing you want to do when installing any fuel system products or anything like that is drain your fuel system pressure. That way you don't have any pressure in the fuel system and you unbolt something, you get sprayed with fuel. It's very dangerous. So on your factory car, look up the service procedure to drain your fuel system pressure. On my car, we're going to do it a little bit differently because we can manually turn the pumps on and off. But for you, you'd want to look up your specific recommendation on that. So we're going to drain the fuel system pressure. And then we're going to start taking off all these AN lines on the fuel rail. You're going to need an 8mm and a 10mm for the Ls2. And then on the factory fuel rail, you would need the 3/8 quick disconnect that would come off right around here on the factory rail. But of course, we're running aftermarket fuel lines, so you would want to go a different route about that. Okay, this install is actually really simple. You don't need that many tools to do it. So what you'll need is a short 8mm socket, a deep 10, and for my particular application, I am running -8 line with -8 fittings, so I will need this. I need some diagonal cutters for me, and then also an adjustable AN wrench provided by Deatschwerks. A lot better option versus having to buy a bunch of these. These are quite expensive. So it's a pretty simple setup. You don't need that many tools to do it, so we're going to do that right now. So to get started, we drained our fuel system pressure. That's done. While the rails are still bolted down, we want to loosen these connections right here so you don't twist or tweak the rails or the bolts or anything. So we're going to do that. Again, that is a -8 for my application. So I'll loosen these guys, take these off. And for you guys that are still running factory rails and you guys are upgrading to the Deatschwerks rails, you will need a GM or really universal 3/8 quick disconnect fuel line fitting. Because on the factory rail, it'll have a little quick disconnect back here. And again, that will be a 3/8 quick disconnect fitting tool. Pretty easy to get a hold of, pretty easy to do as well. All right, fuel lines are off. We're gonna take our 8mm here. We're gonna pull off the factory grounding strap. Remove that guy. Grab your 10mm. There's 4 bolts. One there. One over here. Over here. And one right here as well. So we will remove these guys. Now you got to be careful when you're pulling these rails off. That way you don't damage any of the O-rings and the injectors. So just kind of be cautious. I think what we'll do here is, I think we'll actually unplug the injectors and pull the injectors out with the rail. I think that might be a little bit safer than leaving the injectors in the intake. So we'll do that. Get all these Deatschwerks 95-pound injectors unplugged here, which have been working great for us. Okay, so we got all those off. You just want to wiggle the rail a little bit, kind of hold on to the injector base as you pull it up. This might take you guys a little while. Gotta be careful while you do it. Okay, we got one rail off, guys. had one injector stay in there. We're gonna clean these O-rings here before we put anything back together. So there's one old rail off. Let's set this guy over here. And then for me and mine, I run my fuel or my throttle cable over here, so I needed those cutters. Come over here, do the same thing, give her a little wiggle. And this side came off really easy actually. So bam, get these guys off. Okay, so for the Deatschwerks rails, you're gonna want a dash 8 ORB AN fitting, which is an O-ring based fitting. These are really good fittings, they don't leak, they're pretty good. So we're gonna put ours back onto the new rail. We'll get these snug down here in a minute. Okay, so now if you guys are installing new injectors or anything like that, normally they would come with a little pack of grease, and you'd want to put it on the O-rings for the injectors. That way nothing gets ripped or anything like that while you install them. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, and then we will put the new rails on. We got the injector O-rings all lubed up, so everything's safe. We're going to sit these down on top of the injectors, making sure everything is centered and nice. Then just slowly press down on these guys. It should go on nice and smooth. If it doesn't, you probably messed up somewhere. So double check that. We've got the right side on. Move over here to the left side. Same thing, guys, just make sure your injectors are lined up. Make sure you grease the O-rings, make sure everything goes on nice and smooth. Press them down, make sure the injectors are fully seated. Okay, looks like we got that. Now let's bolt these guys down. So, again, for the Deatschwerks provided bolts, these are gonna be a 5mm Allen head, just like that. So we're gonna drop these down into position. And now I did go ahead and slide the factory ground strap underneath this bolt and then use the factory bolt here. I do not know if that is necessary for you guys or your application, but I went ahead and did that. So that's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna set these bolts down in here. Make sure they all get started nice. All right guys, the torque spec on these is gonna be 89 inch-pounds. So you wanna get a inch-pound torque wrench and torque those down. Here I'm just snugging up these ORB fittings. Again, these are O-ring based AN fittings. They're not your standard AN fittings, so you are gonna need to get the correct ones for that. Now we're gonna throw our crossover line back on. Now AN fittings do not need to be that tight. You wanna go until they stop, then maybe barely a quarter turn more. If you over tighten AN fittings, they will actually leak. You'll feel when they fully seat. Got those on. Okay, we're gonna plug our injectors back in. We got all of our fittings tight. Okay guys, that's pretty much it for the install. Now we are going to turn on the fuel pumps or your ignition on your factory car, and we're gonna check for fuel leaks. Always double check that. So we're gonna do it now. Okay, fuel pressure is on right now. I'm not seeing any leaks, guys. Everything looks pretty good. We have fuel pressure here on our Deatschwerks fuel pressure regulator, so I'm gonna fire it up and we'll see what happens. Alright, so the Deatschwerks Ls2 fuel rails are on the car. It's a really easy install. It shouldn't take you guys longer than maybe 15 or 20 minutes. You might have to make your own lines depending on what kind of setup you are wanting to run and are running. But other than that, super easy. We want to give a big thanks to Deatschwerks for helping us out with these rails and letting us test their new product. Everything went on super easy. We have ran aftermarket rails before and have not had very good luck. Some of the cheaper rails systems you buy, the brackets won't line up and stuff like that. These were super easy. Everything lined up perfectly with my factory LS2 intake. This is out of a 2006 Corvette, so plain Jane LS2. Everything lined up perfect. And again, we're running -8 fuel lines, and we are running the regulator after the rails. So depending on how you guys set it up for like the horsepower you're trying to go, things might be a little bit differently, but I mean, follow these steps and you guys should be good. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, you know, let me know. I'll try to help you guys out, but I hope this helped you. Again, thanks Deatschwerks for letting us do this. We appreciate it.